Hey guys, today you need your Sharpie and your magic rub eraser, and I'm going to show you on each of the animals. So again, if you want to fast forward to your specific animal, you can, but I do think that there's always a benefit from watching other portions to get an idea of what to do. So we're going to start with the bunny again. We'll stay in order. And we're going to start with the outlines that we are going to do, okay? So for the bunny, we are going to outline our ears and the whole head. So basically all of our original parts are going to get Sharpied. So nice and careful. Sharpie around the whole ear. Don't do anything with those interior lines, because I talked about it a few times, they're going to get erased. Carefully tracing the exterior shape of the face. Same thing over on this side. Okay, making sure we Sharpie the leading lines that go to our nose. Kind of smoothing them out if you need to. And then making sure we Sharpie the actual nose or snout. I guess the nose would be here. Okay. All right, so there is our bunny. And then we have to do our chest to here. And then we will do our eyes. Making sure we leave that highlight before we shade in and add the little expression marks around the tops and the sides. Okay. All right. So that is all we're going to do with the outlining. Now the next part is to add texture. And I want to pause for a second before I explain that. So give me 1 second. Okay, so the reason I paused was because I needed to stop and take pictures of all of my drawings before I add Sharpie, because when I teach you your lesson and I give you those slides, I show you them in picture frame too. So I want to make sure that you have those still pictures of each step along with the video. All right, so we're done with the outline portion of the bunny. So what we're going to do next, and it's super easy and you only have to watch me do it a few times, is we are going to add just parallel lines, little dashes, straight up and down, following our contour lines. So basically just going right between those lines, almost like hot lava. We don't want them to really fully touch the pencil, but it'll be okay. And so they need to kind of follow that gentle curve that we established with our pencil, but we're making the marks with Sharpie. And we're not tracing those contour lines. We are just filling in with texture. So you're going to do that around your whole bunny, okay? Except for the eye area, we're going to leave that a little bit more empty for our bunny, and we can come back later and decide if we need to do some more, because he might look a little silly with the mask. So we'll kind of figure that out in the final touches. All right, so you don't need to watch me do this whole thing, but again, you are following the curvature. So turn your paper as needed, and you are filling in all these different areas. The Sharpieing is going to take you a while. I fully expect this to take 2 days worth of time, of art time, for you to do. If you want to sit down and do it all in 1 day, that's fine, but I'm going to give you those 2 days. Okay, so you can kind of see that there's little breaks in between, and then when we go and erase out the pencil, it looks really nice and textured in the end, and it's going to be a nice contrast to that floral background that we're going to create. Okay, so that's the bunny. I'm going to go ahead and show you on our bear and our fox as well. Okay? For the bear, we are not going to trace these two lines in Sharpie. I just wanted to make that clear right away from the start, because our bear has less structure in his face than our bunny and our fox has. So I'm going to start just by outlining the head shape, getting all that done. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but somebody is mowing their lawn today. But that's all right. Everybody's going to mow their lawn. They have the right to do that. I can just sort of hear it, and I'm sure you guys probably can in the video a little bit. All right, so again, all of our kind of original parts are going to get that Sharpie. And then you can go ahead and fill in that nose. Make sure you're careful while you're filling that in. Even with a Sharpie, I do try to color all in one line as much as I can. But I do typically outline my shapes first before I color them in. Okay, and then I'm gonna go, let's see, I do want to do the eyes. So we've got that outline and then that big circle that we're gonna fill in. And we obviously need to do that to both eyes. So same thing on the other side. And just be really careful as you're tracing those circles not to kind of let it get wonky at all. Because once it goes Sharpie, you can't go back. We don't use whiteout in my classroom. We make mistakes work. Okay? All right, and then the last thing that we're going to do is do our shoulders. So again, I did not trace the nose line or these leading lines to the nose. We are going to use parallel lines stacked together. So if you didn't watch the bunny one, make sure you are paying close attention. So these lines follow the curvature of our pencil lines. And they stack in rows so that when we erase the pencil, we will have nice texture, but in the shape of the contour of our bear. But you definitely need to turn your paper as you go to make sure that it works the right way. I think I left a little too much of a gap there. There we go. So there's our nose. And then a little bit of hair on our chin there. Okay, so then the same thing would apply in this zone. So I'm going to curve there, but then I switch and the curve changes, right, as I go into the eye area. So I have to follow my pencil so that I understand the direction that my lines are supposed to turn. The lines themselves stay straight, but where they are located follows those curves. Okay, so we're going to do that all over for our bear. Ears, chest, face, anywhere that's left in pencil. And then when you are 100% finished, you'll go back with that magic rub and you'll erase out those pencils. Okay, so that's our bear. We're going to give him nice, great texture, and we are ready to move on to our final one, our fox. Okay, so our fox, we're going to trace those exterior edges first. And then you can do the interior of the ear along the same time. That's up to you. Trying to be as careful as possible while tracing the outside line. The fox is a little trickier because remember we have like multiple pencil marks from creating that fuzzy fur edge. So we want to make sure that we're tracing the correct parts. that everything connects the best as possible. All the way through, and it's okay that I went through that nose because it's going to be all black in a second. It was just easier for me to make a nice smooth line, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the nose area. So remember, for the fox, we are going to trace the nose area, or those leading lines to the nose, I should say. And then go ahead and fill that in nicely. Remember, there should be that slight overlap to the body. And then we've got our chest area. And then we've got our eyes. Leaving those highlights. Trying to make sure that they are as close to the same size as possible. You can double check that before you go and fill them in with Sharpie. Okay. All right, and then we've got our lines and our texture. So again, we're going to use those parallel lines. If you watched the other two animals, you get the idea by now. And we stack them inside our pencil lines. And it gets a little tricky in the fox because of the fur, so you just kind of have to be careful. But basically the pencil is almost like hot lava, and it is separating the rows of texture that we're adding to the ears, to the face. Okay, so same thing in the head area, following the curves all the way across. And then when you go to the next row, you are avoiding touching the pencil a little bit to help create the texture in those stacked sections. Okay, so I would keep going all the way across. To here. Okay, and then for the side of the face, that's the last part I'm going to show you, but you would work all your way south down to the nose. For the side of the face, I just suggest you turn the paper so that your lines follow the curve the right way, all the way down the side of the face. Because the whole point of this is for the contour lines and the texture to work together to help give our animals some structure. All right, guys, I cannot wait to see these all finished. When you're all done with all of your lines, go ahead and go through and take your magic rub and get rid of any pencil that you left. I just noticed that I left out this guy, so I better trace that before I forget. And I'm good to go. Have a good one, guys.